Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from an upcoming play at Cedar Valley Christian entitled Don Quixote de la Center. Director Robin Crow, teacher at the school, is with us. Robin, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
And Atticus Pospisil is here.
You.
Welcome. Yeah. And Ethan Myers, hi.
Hello.
Robin, let's start with you. Sure. Tell me just a little bit about what led to this show being your spring play. Not one that I've heard of before, but I think that once you explain what's going on, the themes are really going to resonate with everybody listening.
Yes, I think so. My kids have been asking for a couple of years to do something more serious. We usually do comedies. And I made them promise that they would come to every rehearsal and learn their lines on time. And if they did that, we could do a serious show. And they met my expectations. So we chose this one, Don Quixote de la Center. It is obviously about Don Quixote, the storyline, but it takes place in a home for elderly people who have dementia. And the story revolves around one main character, played by Ethan here, named Don Quintero. And Donald falls into the fantasy that he is Don Quixote. And it is how the people in the home deal with that, the other residents as well as the caregivers. And then Atticus plays Don's son, and then how Sam, the son, deals with all that as well. It sounds, oh my gosh, that's so heavy, but it's very funny. It is very poignant. There's all of the emotions, I think, when you come to see this show, and it should be really really heartfelt and thought-provoking.
Well, what an interesting way to adapt that work, because Don Quixote, regarded as the very first modern novel, and of course is the story of someone who is delusional.
Exactly.
And to set that, to use that as an inspiration piece, interesting. Yeah. So, Ethan, tell me a little bit about how you approach this part. Well, sit up toward the microphone just a little bit.
I think it's definitely initially kind of terrifying, because it's a very sensitive issue. A lot of people have had family members with dementia and things like that, and I don't really personally have experience with a family member with that disease, and so it's difficult. I want to treat it with, sincerity and respect, while also making sure, the play is funny. Don Quixote is a funny character, and so I want to have sensitivity while also making him a funny character, and so it's a difficult balance to kind of approach, but it's been a fun character to play and explore.
Atticus, you play the role that most of us who are, involved with usually an older relative who has dementia, and I have a Alzheimer's patient in my family. So, so you play me.
Yeah, right.
In this, so that is that probably gives you a little bit of a window into how people deal with with their relatives when they suffer from this disease.
Yeah, I noticed that initially, my character is the worst way to go about taking care of this, I guess, or helping out a family member with this disease. So I guess I'm the number one relatable character, and I also have the most emotion, arguably. But I'm separating this character from real life is also a real struggle. And so I hope that I can just play the part of Sam without encouraging, because in the end it does kind of work out, without encouraging people to go and talk to their elderly with dementia like this.
There are lots of different ways that this could be approached. Would you call this more that this is a kind of a realism aspect of this, that you could also have different kind of fantastical things, but this sounds like it's very grounded.
It's very grounded, I think, but I think also there's an element of Don Quixote kind of brings a magic to this world that he kind of inhabits. I think his character is kind of afraid of his dementia and seeing his life kind of come to an end in this kind of place that he doesn't like, right? This retirement home that he's living in. And so I think Don Quixote as a character is kind of trying to bring, it's grounded in realism, but he's trying to bring kind of a magic to the real world, where he's this knight battling fantastical creatures and doing stuff with his paramour Dulcinea and all these magical knightly things in the blankets.
All the things from the original story.
Yes.
Yeah. Robin, what did you talk about the work as a whole for just a second? How do you think this piece pulls off what it's trying to do? There's a lot going on here.
There is a lot going on here. And, when I I read the script one afternoon, and my husband walked into the door to me just in tears, and I said, "We have to do this play. It's beautiful," and it really is. It treats dementia. It treats the elderly with such respect. And that's something I love. We've talked a lot with the kids who are playing the caregivers and how they are so kind and respectful. And our culture, we talk about this with the kids, that the American culture is not good at respecting our elderly. And so to do something where they are really diving into that world and learning that our elderly people have so much wisdom and so much to offer still. And even those with dementia have so much to offer us. And to be able to portray that and to convey that message to our audience is super, super important.
What was the biggest thing, each of you, that surprised you going into this? Because going in, hey, we'd like to do a serious play. We'd like to do something we can really sink our teeth into. So mission accomplished. But what turned out to be different than what you expected? Atticus, why don't you start?
Yeah, sort of line the topic. We had the opportunity to talk to some people from the DeWolf Innovation Center at Hallmar. And one of the things that surprised me most is one of the speakers there, I cannot remember his name, was actually in the, I guess, process of going through dementia, some of the first early stages. And what surprised me most is that he just seemed like any other guy. And I think really our American insensitivity is that we don't consider everyone else as could be struggling with this disease. I mean, it could be directly, it could be indirectly. But it's more than just surface level, I guess.
Ethan, same question. What turned out differently than what you expected upon first getting exposed to this?
I think a lot of just again, talking with the people at the DeWolf place, seeing the different aspects of the dementia. The guy who came in had dementia who was talking with us, and just seeing how just totally blew my stereotypes about dementia patients just completely out of the water, because he was just a guy like any other person. And so it kind of made me want to approach it with a lot more not sincerity, but respect, I guess. And so that was probably the most surprising thing, kind of trying to grapple with, how do I portray these characters correctly? Because previously we had done just funny things. And so trying to do something emotional takes a lot of, I think, respect for those people. So dealing with that.
A big part of this is you have to honor your character in a way you don't always have to do in a comedy.
Yeah.
Robin, same general question. What has evolved or changed or surprised you as you've gone through this?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Kept prepping the kids and not myself to answer things like that. Just really the kids, watching the kids embrace this, to hear the questions that they asked of the community liaison from DeWolf, to how to dig into this, and to see them take this so seriously. And it has really evolved from, okay, guys, we're doing a play, to now they're like, we are doing something important. It isn't just the spring play. This is something that we want to affect our audience. We want to get people thinking. We want to change the way they approach things. And so we have a ton of fun in rehearsals, but also just seeing them dig in ways I've not seen them dig in before has been just really cool.
Heavy topics, but it also sounds like this play's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much fun seeing, I think, a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds at our school coming in to do this. We're a much smaller school, so we have guys who are super great at track and basketball coming in to do the spring play. And so you just get to see them having fun with these characters, doing something totally out of their comfort zone. And yeah, it is a fun show as well as being a dramatic show. There are funny elements, and just seeing people play with those characters has been awesome.
Don Quixote de la Center at Cedar Valley Christian, coming up May 1st and 2nd, yes?
Correct.
How do we get tickets and go?
It's free, which is great. We do accept donations at the door. It's at 7 o'clock, Friday and Saturday, May 1st and 2nd. We'll have a concession stand and take those donations. We should have some information for people to learn more about caring for people with dementia. It's just going to be a great couple of nights we're really excited about.
Well, congratulations to all of you in bringing this. It's not, important thing to the fore, but also figuring out a way to both honor and have fun with it. Sounds like it's been a project that's going to stick with you guys for a while.
Yep.
Again, May 1st and 2nd, Cedar Valley Christian. And you said 7 o'clock?
7
curtain
o'clock.
time? All right. Good luck with it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.